again. It's a redskin.
She did them, you know, and I was aware she did them, and I just didn't know how to stop her from doing perks, you know. And I kept warning her about fentanyl because I have a lot of friends that lost their kids. So I'm part of that club now. And I used to beg her, you know, and tell her, please stop taking it. You don't know what's in them. In my daughter's case, is she didn't OD. For people that don't know the story, she was murdered by fentanyl. This is a picture of my daughter for the people who never seen her.
And I you know, can't say it enough times. Do not accept anything from anyone you don't know. And even if you do know them, don't accept it unless you know what it is and where it's come from. And
I would say at my worst, I was probably taking between 30, 35, sometimes maybe 40 a day.
If anything, the way I look at it is like Sopranos saved me. When I would think like, man, what are you doing to yourself? It would be a lot easier for me to go like, stop doing this. Look at what your life could be, you know, instead of what a lot of my friends were dealing with. And, you know, I think it's 5 of my friends who I brought to the premieres of The Sopranos are dead now.
I had my own battle with addiction as well. The Vicodin and Percocet, that was the thing. You know, I didn't do heroin, or it wasn't coke or anything else. It was Vicodin and Percocet.
You know, by 2005, I was a full-blown heroin addict and a crack cocaine addict.
And even people with the worst kind of mental illness have a chance if they have the capacity to be honest with themselves. The reality is we've been lying to ourselves with every drink we put in our mouth, or every puff we take, or every, you know, pill that we pop, or whatever we're doing. And then, you know, we wonder why people get pissed off at us, but we don't see that it's what we're doing. It's not my mother, my father, my brother, my uncle, my sister. No, it's me too.
The consequences are too severe for me. You know, the damage I've done to my health, it's a fucking miracle. Nothing short of a miracle that I am still alive. So, if I can do it, any of you can do it.
When people suffer from alcoholism or drug addiction, there must come a moment when your life totally crashes. For me, that moment came when the pain was too great and the consequences were too profound. Only then did I decide to change. Recovery and sobriety is all about change, and for me, it started when I woke up in a grimy hotel room in a shitty little town in Pennsylvania. And so, if you want a new life and start a new journey of a lifetime, you've come to the right place. You want to drink? That's your business. You want to stop drinking? That's our business. Welcome to Recovery Tube.
Hey guys. All right, here we are. I'm sorry I was late. I had some things to do between shows. You know, sometimes I start these shows quite often, actually, and I don't know exactly what to talk about. At least I don't have a specific topic, you know, because like I said, I'm not a drug and alcohol counselor. I'm just a guy, you know, a recovering addict. But just listening to Don's little outro there, I thought about it, and I would like to ask all of you the question because I don't know if I ever did. What was your rock bottom? Like, what happened in your addiction that made you realize, okay, it's time to change? You know, I'm too sick, or I'm going to die, or whatever your reasoning may have been. Why? What got you there? You know what I mean? I'm curious. You know, if each of you could answer, at least the ones who are recovering addicts or currently struggling. I know some of you guys never actually struggled with addiction yourselves. Maybe some of you just knew somebody or related to somebody. If so, maybe you could tell us about their rock bottom. But I'm curious. Instant Karma never had a rock bottom. Well, your first comment was, I'm a child from an alcoholic. I'm sorry to hear that, Instant Karma. How did that affect your life, you think? Did you become an alcoholic? Today I'm asking you guys questions. By the way, Miss Can't Be Wrong, Dave, Sally, Steve Blair, Instant Karma, Sven Larson. Good to see you guys. We don't have many people today. I guess SoFlo is on over there, so we'll see what happens. But oh, your mom was an alcoholic. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. And you never became an alcoholic. You never had any type of addiction. I'm assuming you're just here because of, you know, what you went through in your life with your mom being an alcoholic. Either way, you're more than welcome. I'm just curious. I feel like you may have told us before, but I don't remember. Steve Blair said he lost his marriage. That'll do it. So that's what really, that was your breaking point. That's when you said, I need to get help. Because, yeah, that would be a good rock bottom. And I'm sorry to hear that, by the way. That's a shame, Steve. But I lost, you know, a very important relationship because of my addiction too. So, well, not really. It was a mix of things, but that didn't help. Walt Liquor, what's up, bro? Good to see you. She went to rehab, and I was about 10, and the counselor said it was my fault that my mom was an alcoholic. What? Why? Why did the counselor say that? Yep, never looked back. Well, listen, I'm glad you got clean and sober and you're with us today, brother. Really. I'm sorry that, you know, that happened. I'm still with her, but not really. Yeah, I hear you on that too. I was in a situation like that. I thought maybe I could help. I have no idea. Well, it shows what kind of person you are that you tried to help. It really does. Look at this. Tom Sheehy, 10 Fat Bald-Sicilian memberships. Thank you, Tom. Beautiful. It's $50 right there. You know, I don't ask for donations on these shows, but if you send them, I'm not going to turn them down either. So thank you. Let's see who got them real quick. Truth Hurts, Amanda, Momo Monster 5150, Dreamer, Rosemary Bascacow, John O'Reilly, Kells, Chad D, KLP, Matty G. Excellent. Thank you, bro. Thank you very much, Tom. Good to see you as always. But I carried her for a long time. You didn't what? You didn't what? Yeah, well, you guys know my rock bottom, so I'm not going to go over that again. But I am curious with you guys, what it was, what got you to the point where you said, all right, it's too much now. Whether it was pills you were taking or dope or fucking smoking crack or snorting powder or drinking, whatever it may have been. I never really asked you guys that question. There's not many of you in here, but I don't know, Instant Karma. You said I didn't, LOL. So I said you didn't what? And you said didn't what? Are you fucking with me? I don't know. Yes, he is the man. Who is the man? Tom Sheehy. Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Fucking probably got the biggest heart out of damn near anybody I've ever met. It's a great guy, Tom Sheehy. I love that dude. I truly do. Pills lead to dope for me. So you mean if say you were to take some painkillers or something, you're most likely going to be doing dope not long after. That's like, alcohol for me is like it leads to coke. Jason Mikesell, what's up, bro? I'm going to get back to you to your message after the show, but you already know I always got your back, bro. Don't even sweat it. I don't get involved in that shit. I thought maybe someone here have children and I could help. Oh, okay. No, that's great, Instant Karma. That's great. Thank you. No, it's good having you here. Do you have your gifts turned on? Maybe that's why, Instant Karma. Don Berlin, my man. Look at this guy right here. Another one. One of the best, kindest, most generous people I've ever met in my life. Another guy I will hopefully be lifelong friends with. Dropping in for a quick high, as in 43,000 feet high. But hope all is well with everyone. Stay strong, stay sober, stay 2 steps ahead of the Undertaker, and don't look back. Good advice, Don. Good to see you here. Thank you for dropping in, and please be safe or else. Let me see. Karma, always helping others grow. That's good. That's good. I like that there's people here too that didn't necessarily struggle themselves, but they have a desire to either learn or to help other people, In flight at presence or reception is not great, but just saw the show is up. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you got to drop in, Don. Really. These shows wouldn't be what they are without Don. Don has done a lot of things for me to make sure these shows keep happening, and he's added a lot to it. He's been on sometimes, addiction and recovery shows, the other shows talking about addiction and recovery. And of course, he added that beautiful outro for the video. That's my brother, Don. Of course, probably more like a father figure, I don't know when the next time anybody will gift memberships is, but maybe you'll get one then. I'll tell you what, Instant Karma, my next show tonight, I got some I can give away for free, so you can get one of those. Jason Mikesell, I almost relapsed this weekend. I had some alcohol Friday, but I got lucky. My skin infection got in the way. Oh, shit. That's, I don't know what to say about that. I'm glad you didn't relapse. That's fucking fantastic. And if it took your skin infection getting in the way, then good. I guess it's a good thing you got that shit. It's always nice to hear from Don. Yes, it is. You go to, like, you're going to join Instant Karma, like you hit the join button or something, I think. And then when you go in there, it'll say accept gifts or something. You just got to turn that on. And then when people give out memberships, you might receive one. He must be in a jet, 43,000 feet. That's higher than normal cruising altitude. I love Jason. Jason's a fucking genius. He really is. He knows it. He's like Don. You know what I mean? Don, I can ask Don about anything. And I can call him up right now and be like, Don, what do you know about, I don't know, amplifiers? You know what I mean? What do you know about book publishers? What do you know about trees? And he will tell me. He will tell me everything I need to know, or just off the top of his head without researching everything. The man knows it all. Don is the real smart man. I'm just full of useless facts. I retain information well. I'm kind of like that too, but you're much smarter than that, Jason. Oh wait, Karma's. Oh yeah, Karma, you're already a member. But I think if one of the free memberships are given to you, then you don't have to pay for that month or something. Like they don't take that month's fee, something like that. How'd you get it, Instant Karma? You probably won it. Probably won a free membership. Anyway, guys, come on. I need your help. Tell me some things. What was your rock bottom? What about do I have to put some people on the spot? Steve Blair already answered. Dave, what about you? What was your rock bottom? Any of you? Open up. It's an addiction recovery show. Let's talk about this shit. Very important. Very, very important. Yeah. I hear that, Jason. I don't know. Tom probably bought it. Yeah, he probably did, Instant Karma. I don't know. I can only go over my story so many times. I'm certainly not telling that again. You know my rock bottom. I fucking woke up in a hotel with a hot, probably hooker, you know, who was like 20 fucking years younger than me. And I was going through alcohol withdrawal, sick as a dog, and I was fed up, you know. Do any of you have children? Let's see what they say. I know a couple do. I, of course, have a daughter. She's going to be 24 this year. And I have two stepkids, a 21-year-old and a 12-year-old. Jason said I got a son. Yep, he has a son. I know you do. You know my story well, huh, Instant Karma? Just thought I'd answer you. Steve Blair has 3 girls. 3 girls. My own, Steve. A wife and 3 girls. You must have aged quickly. That's tough. A house full of women. Holy shit. 6 grandkids. Wow. That's great, though, man. That's certainly more than enough to live for, ain't it? Money and withdrawals after 22 years of hell. Lost my whole 40s to pill addiction. Oh, see that? That's what I'm talking about. That's I can relate, bro. I lost a lot of my 30s to coke and alcohol. A lot. Some of my teen years, even some of my 20s. Pill addiction. Yeah, I know that was your thing. So you ran out of money, basically, and the withdrawals were just too much. You lost all that time. See that? And you've been clean how long, Dave? It's great. It's great. 12 years. 12 years you've been clean, or 12 years of your life you lost? Who you asking, Instant Karma? You asking Jason? Don said, hey, Jason, thank you for your kind words. I am actually in back, but last I was up front. Altimeter said 42.9 using, oh, yeah, I don't know these words. Killed me twice, bro. I'm assuming, are you talking about living with the girls, or are you talking about the addiction? If you're talking about the addiction, I didn't mean to laugh. My coworker has 3 girls. He said he stopped having kids after 3 girls because he knew he was never having a son. Yeah, sometimes you can't roll the dice anymore. You just got to say, all right, I got what I got, I personally thought I wanted a son until I had a daughter. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I wouldn't like to have a son at some point. I would have loved it, but I chose to have 1 kid, and that was it for me. I would love to have a son, though. I would, but that's the cool thing about having my stepsons. It really is. Like, I wasn't very close to my stepkids in the beginning. It was hard to get close to them. It was difficult for a lot of reasons, but I wound up getting very, very close to them. I've been a father figure to both of them without a doubt, and that's their words. I know they both love and adore me because they've told me, and I do my best. My oldest stepson, he's grown up, but still, he didn't have a father for a long time in his life, so I try to, play that role as much as I can. My youngest stepson also. The older he gets, the closer we get. So it's cool. It is. It's nice to have someone else to shop for Jordans for. 12 years, not 22. It's genetics, some just have girls, some women just have boys, I guess. Oh, all right. Well, I'm sure you'll hear it at some point. Instant Karma, I tell it pretty often. Oh, okay, Don. I'd say my rock bottom was getting arrested, indicted, facing 20 years. Yeah, you had a hell of a rock bottom. I know your story well. Yeah, and that's more than a good enough reason to get clean and stay that way, Ducks, I'm pretty sure we spoke about this. You were on the show and stuff, but just, my memory, just to refresh my memory. The drug dealing is what got you using, right? Not the other way around. Because that's what happened with me. It was drug dealing that got me using. It wasn't using that got me to sell drugs. Oh, you lost 12 years. It's a shame, man. That's another thing I want to talk about. Ronin 456. Come on. We joke on the other shows, not on this show, about addiction and stuff. Almost 5 clean. That's great. That's great, Dave. But going back to what I was saying, another thing I'd like to ask you guys about is the pain, man. I don't mean to switch topics, but I got this problem that I've spoken to you guys about before. I have a lot of fucking pain. I mean, not physical, mental anguish. I can't get over the things I've done to hurt people. And I haven't even done anything, like I haven't done anything that's even that bad, nothing over the top crazy, nothing like that, just little things, I even look back at times where I snapped at people, for I guess you could say no good reason, because of the state of mind, when I was high or drunk, whatever. Things I said to people also that hurt, me and my words. Imagine me with alcohol in me, I could ruin a person's life with my fucking words. So, I have these, these days, like I always told you guys about, where I just can't get my mind off these things that I've done and people that I've hurt and relationships I've damaged. And there's also some crimes that bother me, I think about a lot, but it's mostly, people close to me who I never hurt physically or anything, but I hurt by having them see me go through this period of my life where I was heavily addicted, or multiple periods of my life, depending on who it was and how long they were with me, a bunch of stuff, it's a bunch of stuff that breaks me down. It does. I get I fall into severe depressions for days at a time. You guys can't tell because I'm very good at coming on here and being FBS, but there's sometimes you've seen, you just know I'm not in the right state of mind. Anytime you see me like that, believe me when I tell you, it's not just a bad day like, oh, things didn't go right today. It's a bad day like I woke up, in a complete and total state of regret, and I woke up with all these things in my mind that I did to hurt people, even, um like without that intention of hurting them, just I won't say accidentally, but you know what I mean. When you're in that high or drunk state of mind, whatever, you don't realize that what you're doing is hurtful. You don't. Everything seems okay to you. It's just like a drunk driver. They have a few drinks and they feel like they're driving just fine. You know what I mean? They feel like their vision's clear and their head is clear and they're, driving exactly the way they're supposed to. And meanwhile, they're swerving all over the fucking road. It's the same type of thing. Your inhibitions are down and you say things that at the moment seem like no big deal, or you do things. You do things and you hurt people. And you can never take that away. You can never do it. No matter how many times you apologize, whatever it is you did to that person will be with them forever. And most likely every time they think about you, they're going to think about that, whatever it is you did. And that's hard to live with because you could get clean and sober and you can change and you can be a different person who no longer, thinks the way you used to and would never say the things you've said or do the things you did during your addiction. And it doesn't matter. No matter how much people forgive you, you know that pain stays with them. You know it. And no matter what happens, even after you're dead, those are the things they're going to remember about you. Not maybe not the only things, but they're going to remember that forever. This time, or this or that time when somebody said this to me, people, it stays with them. So I don't know how to get around that because the older I get, the worse it gets. You'd think it would start to wear off. Like I've even spoken to some of these people about this, and they've told me it's not even on their mind. Don't even worry about it. You're stressing over nothing. I don't think about that. I'm not mad at you, but I don't believe it. You know what I mean? I don't believe it. And I have such a hard time dealing with the fact that these people who I would never hurt, these people that I love and adore, these people that all I ever wanted to do was make them happy, I did hurt them at one point or another. And it did change things. All those relationships where I did something like that, they're different to this day. Some of them don't even exist anymore, some of those relationships. So no matter how much somebody tells me it's okay, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I don't even think about it. Well, I do. And I know you do, whether you tell me you do or not. Or at least I have such a guilty conscience that I feel like you must. And the pain is so severe sometimes when I tell you that I have to leave home and just get in my car and drive for a while because I'm afraid that in the mood I'm in, I'll say something hurtful to Shanna or my mom or something, because when I'm like that, I have a short fuse and I'm impatient and I don't want to be bothered. And the very act of just trying to talk to me will piss me off. Serious, because when I'm in that place in my head, when I'm in the past, I don't even want to be distracted. I feel like I have to think it out as like a punishment. I have to just deal with it until it goes away on its own. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to get it off my mind, but there's a part of me that feels like I deserve the pain I'm feeling and the regret and the sadness and sorrow. And so I just, I try to let it go away naturally, and it always comes back. Sometimes it lasts a day, sometimes it lasts 2 or 3 days. But the sadness I feel from it and the anger at myself makes it very hard to deal with life on a day-to-day basis. Makes it very, very difficult. And I don't think I'll ever be able to live without these thoughts and feelings. I don't think I'll ever be able to. I don't think, even if the people tell me they've gotten over it, I don't think I could ever get over it because it's things that I can't forgive myself for, you know? So I'll always be searching for the answer on how do you deal with that? What kind of coping skills do you need? How do you, maybe put a stop to these thoughts once they start? How do you snap out of it once you're in a horrible mood because you're thinking about the past so much and the things you've done? Like I realize that even with the accomplishments I've made, and whether people want to admit it or not, since I've been on here, I've definitely achieved some things. Uh, and even with like people, people send me emails and messages and uh, kind words, saying things like I saved their life. They were on the verge of suicide and this show saved them, or me making a phone call to them made them feel better one night when they were, on the edge, of doing something horrible to themselves or someone else, or I stop people from relapsing by either calling them, having a conversation with them, taking them somewhere, talking, to them through this show or on this show, or just these shows in general, just doing these shows, have stopped them from relapsing or doing something even worse. I could get that stuff sometimes when I get those messages, like Timothy Sullivan sent me 2 messages in a row out of nowhere a few weeks ago, and they were some of the most kind words, I think that were ever spoken to me, like the messages meant so much, and the fact that they were out of nowhere meant even more, and Timothy, I'm not going to tell you exactly what he said, but it was just it was very, very kind of him to even say that to me. So I sent those messages to someone just because I wanted to show them, like, look, like, if you don't think I'm changing and that I really care about helping people now, this is how people feel about the shows I do and what I've done for them. And, I'm really trying to help people. And, they'll say, oh my God, that's great. That's awesome. Good for you. But I know that no matter how many things I may accomplish or how many people I might help or try to help, and I only bring up helping people because that's a part of my I don't want to use any religious words. How do I say this? It's part of my recovery that I'm trying to what do they say in AA? You got to give it away to keep it, something like that. You know what I'm saying? I tried to use my experiences and everything I went through with addiction to help other people. So that's my way. Like if I can show you that I've helped other people, I'm showing you that I'm truly serious about my own recovery and I've changed my life and this is the positive direction I'm moving in. And they'll congratulate me and tell me how great it is and all that, but it's like I know though that you still haven't forgiven me. Nothing I do will ever take the pain away that I caused you. And I can't be mad at you because I'm the one that caused the pain. You were the victim. You were the victim of my addiction, of my behavior, of my bullshit, my attitude, everything. And I've said this before in a million shows. You can never get mad at you, or you can never get mad at someone who won't forgive you. I got to that point for a while where I got so fed up with certain people that I decided, you know what? Fuck them. If they can't let this shit go, I don't need them in my life. It's bullshit. Like, look what I've done. I've changed my life. They see that I've changed my life. How can they still be mad? But that's not the way to look at it. You're wrong if you look at it that way because you can't tell anybody how to feel, especially about things you've done to them. And everybody has a fucking right to forgive on their own time when they feel like it, or on their own time. I don't know how to word it. You know what I mean? whenever they get to that point, if they get to that point of, finally being willing to or able to forgive you, that's great. But they might never get there. And if they do get there, it might take 20 fucking years, but you can't rush them, and you can't expect forgiveness just because you're ready to be forgiven. You got to wait till they're ready to forgive you. So, but I have a hard time with that because, because of my health problems and a lot of other things, I'm always in fear that I won't be here very long. And will I ever see the day that you do forgive me? Because I don't want to die without being forgiven. But I have to face that I'm not entitled to your forgiveness. I'm not entitled to your compassion or your sympathy or any fucking thing else. I did what I did, and I have to live with it. Even though it may have been things that I would have never, ever, ever fucking done if I wasn't under the influence of something. Doesn't matter. People don't see things that way unless they really truly start to learn about addiction and become educated on the subject and realize that, oh my God, people, whether you want to call it a disease or not, they're at least in a state of mind while they're under the influence that they don't even have control over what they're saying or doing. You know what I mean? The drug has control of them, and they're acting like a fucking animal, even though if they were clean and sober, maybe they wouldn't be acting that way. Most people are never going to gain that type of understanding of addiction. Matter of fact, I think a lot of people who have dealt with addicted people, like say Instant Karma did with her mother, I think that they don't even want to learn because they don't want to forgive, or they don't even want to go near the subject of addiction because addiction has caused them so much pain in their lives. That's why I love that, like, Instant Karma is here and has never even struggled, but she's here because of her mother and her addiction, whether it's to share her experience or to gain some sort of understanding of what went on in her life. I don't know, but it's good to have people here like that. But, this is, I've talked to you guys about this before. This is a type of pain that is like none other. Like none other. I mean, I've been through a lot of shit, man. A lot of shit with my health, with my heart, with physical pain, beaten half to death when I was 16 years old. Been through all types of violent shit. But there's no pain like this pain. There isn't. It's it never goes away. With me, there are certain days, like I said, where I will wake up like that, or something will come to me. I'll just be sitting around doing nothing or something, and sometimes I'll be out working or whatever you want to call what I do when I'm not on here. You know what I mean? My point is, I could be driving around door dashing, or I could be fucking, out buying shit for the house, or doing something for, my family, or whatever the fuck I might be doing during the day. Something could just hit me out of nowhere. And then that's it. I mean, like a fucking light switch, my entire mood has changed for the day. And there's nothing I could do about it because I cannot get those thoughts out of my head. There's days like that. Usually it starts with me waking up like that. Not always, like I just said, but usually. And it doesn't go away at least until the next day. But I will say that every single day since I've gotten clean and sober, at some point in time throughout that day, my past comes back to haunt me, or at least, in my mind, I think about these things, At some point during every single day, there is not a day I can remember where some of this stuff that I regret, some of these bad choices I made, some of these, some of these thoughts about the people I've hurt, there's not a single day where I don't think about them. Not a single day. At some point, it might last 10 minutes. It's not up to me. But every single day I live with regret for the pain I caused other people. And let me tell you something. I'm sure a lot of you are like me, but I can only speak for myself. I could deal with any pain that's inflicted on me. I can't deal with the pain that's been inflicted on the people around me, by me. I can't, I have a hard time dealing with that. And I know it's going to last forever. It's never going to go away because the way I think and as obsessive as I am and everything else, you could tell me you've forgiven me 1,000 times. I'll never truly believe you. And I will always live with the regrets and the pain that I feel from the pain that I caused others. So, I quite often say that I'm very lucky that I was physically addicted to alcohol, and detox was pretty much enough to get me clean and sober. And because I didn't have that mental addiction to alcohol, really, I don't really crave alcohol that much. And because Coke was kind of a thing I did while I was drinking, I don't really crave Coke that much. But I'm not going to tell you that it isn't hard to stay clean and sober when you have this type of shit on your mind, because anybody who's ever dealt with depression or anxiety or any of this mental anguish shit, that a few drinks makes you feel great. You're in fucking la la land now. A few minutes ago you were ready to fucking hang yourself, and now you're on top of the world. So yeah, it gives you reasons to want to go out and use, but you can't. And that's part of the difficulty of becoming clean and sober and recovering from your addictions. Is that you have to know that all this pain, all this regret, all these horrible things you've done in your life, all this stuff is going to be with you forever. And you're not going to be able to get rid of it, but you can't drink it away or snort it away or smoke it away or shoot it away. You can't anymore. Now you have to deal with these things with a clear fucking head, and you have to learn to live with it. You have to learn how to do it on your own. Nobody can do it for you. And you can't have a bad day like some of the days I have where you're in a horrible place mentally. You can't kill that pain with any substance. You just have to deal with it. And I truly believe that until you're able to deal with the things you've done in your past, because let me tell you, there's not a single addict who didn't do horrible things because of their addiction. Some more than others, sure, but we all have. So you have to learn how to live with those regrets and the pain from, knowing that you've hurt people you love, people close to you, friends, family, whatever. You have to learn to deal with it and learn how to deal with it, because it's not going anywhere. If you really have a conscience, then you're going to suffer for the rest of your life thinking about these things. You are. But the alternative is much, much worse, because no matter how much you use, whether it's drugs or alcohol, you got two options, in the long run. You either get clean or you die. If you don't want to die, you got to get clean. And the longer you put off getting clean, the more time you waste and the more damage you do. Because, as long as you're still using, you'll continue to hurt those people around you. You'll continue to make mistakes and fuck up and do horrible things. So imagine if you got a few years in and you already got a list a mile long of fucked up things you've done to people. Imagine if you go a few more years, how long that list will be. You know what I mean? So you got to get clean as soon as possible. That's the only option. Drinking or using is not going to permanently fix anything, because eventually you have to get clean and sober. And when you do, all of these things will come back to you. And trust me, if you don't remember a lot of these things, the people you did them to, they'll remind you. They'll remind you. Oh, did you forget when you did this to me or this to me? Did you forget when you said this? You want to see the text message you sent me one night? And now sometimes you're learning about things you had no fucking memory of. You don't even remember doing the shit. But if you don't remember on your own, people will tell you. Maybe not all of them, but some of them. They'll remind you real quick of the things you've done. And that makes it even harder, because it's like, you're trying to get clean and sober. And it's like, I know what's bothering me and I know how I have to work through it. And then you find out some new shit. I did that? Why? How could I have done that? But there's proof right in front of you that you did it. So now you got to live with it, So I always wonder how you guys, since I'm asking you questions today, how do you deal with the pain that comes with your past, your addictions? How do you deal with the pain of knowing that you hurt people? And maybe some of you haven't hurt anybody. I don't know, but I know I have. Sometimes, depending on who it is, you just got to do them a favor by walking away from them and saying, you know what? I'm not going to rush you or bother you anymore. Hopefully one day your heart changes, you feel differently about whatever took place in the past, and you'll be able to forgive me. And you'll let me know. But I can't keep pushing and pushing, because I'm just going to push you further away. I can't rush you. I can't. So I guess that's how you have to be. You got to be selfless. No matter how much it hurts you to maybe have to walk away from somebody to give them time. You might have to do that. It might be the nicest thing you could do for them, because your presence is a constant reminder of the things you've done. And how the fuck could somebody forgive you if you're constantly reminding them? Even inadvertently, you're not trying to, but your mere presence is enough to remind them of the things you've done. Sometimes you just got to say, you know what, for your sake, I'm going to leave you alone. And I may never talk to you again, but that's up to you. I'm not going to push you anymore. I'm not going to try to force you into anything. Because quite honestly, why would you want that anyway? What if they don't genuinely forgive you? You want them to pretend and act like they do? Or act like they have forgiven you? No, of course not. You want it to be genuine, right? So you have to deal with the pain of missing people. You have to. You have to learn how to live without people in your life, certain people. And you just got to hope that someday they return. But again, you can't force them to. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. So anyway, that's the question, I guess. I asked a few during this show, but How do you deal with the pain from that type of loss? How do you do it? I especially wonder about people who have lost people, like people in their lives have passed away during their active addiction. They lost people. People died, and they have to get clean and sober and know that they can never make amends. They can never be forgiven. And the way that person died, they died with this horrible image of you in their minds. So I'm just curious, how do you guys deal with it? Because I don't know how. I don't have the slightest clue as to how to deal with that type of pain. But maybe some of you guys have learned some things. Maybe you guys have learned some coping skills or some tools, whatever, that can help you through that type of stuff. And if so, I'd appreciate if you share them with me because I need to learn. I need to figure out how to deal with it. My son doesn't like when I drink alcohol, probably because he equates that with the arguments and fights I've had with my ex, his mother. Alcohol really had nothing to do with it, but that's the association my son made. Oh, I'm sure. They soak things up, like fucking sponges. You know what they say? They see and hear and feel things that you'll never even know about. Yeah, it certainly is, Ronin 456. That's good, Jason. That's very good. FPS, do what I do. Look at it as you would another person. If it was somebody else and not you, what would you say to them? That might be a bad question for me, Muzz. Because what I would say to somebody who did those things to me is probably not what the average person would say. You know me, I can't hold anything in. So if I'm picturing them saying to me what I would say to somebody who did those things to me, it's probably not going to make me feel any better. But I hear you. I understand. I know you would give them grace and you would never look at them less than, especially if they've improved their life and done good for other people. So why not the same for you? No, I understand. That goes with your earlier comment. Yeah, no, I know. But I mean, and I think that way sometimes too. Like if these people did these things to me during their addiction and then they changed their life the way I did, it's so plain to see. You can't miss it. If you know me at this point, you knew me in the past, you know goddamn well I'm a different human being. I'm not the same. But when I talk to you, I can hear it in your voice that you haven't forgiven me the slightest bit. Even when I show you some small accomplishment I've made, or something cool I've done, or something somebody said to me that proves that, wow, look, I've really helped a person or a number of people. When I can listen to your voice, and in my opinion at least, and I know how you feel, and I have yet to feel that there's any real forgiveness. And not just that, it's the way people treat you. You know how they used to treat you and how they treat you now. So it's like it's quite obvious we haven't made the slightest bit of progress because you're still not treating me anything like you used to. I don't know. Forgiveness comes with time. You'll eventually come to terms with it. I have no choice, I guess. I kind of already have, but it doesn't take the pain away, the regret, the misery that you feel when you think about the things you've done, I know you do, War. Jason, I don't know if it does. I'll be honest with you. That's what they say, but I don't know if it does. Well, even when she wasn't drinking in front of me, I still knew. I'm sure you did. Yeah, dealing definitely caused me to use pills, and boredom played a role. And I don't know if that goes on. We'll see. But But yeah, boredom will do it. Remember Basketball Diaries? Boredom is the devil's plaything or something. Isn't that what Lorraine Bracco said to Leonardo DiCaprio? Boredom, boredom is the cause of a lot of people's addictions. And yeah, dealing, of course, bro. So many dealers, you know. Some don't. I mean, like most of the guys I hung around, some I still hang around. They have hustled their whole lives and they never did anything more than smoke some weed. You know, but I guess it just depends on who you are. I thought doing coke was so fucking cool. Everybody around me was doing it, and it was everywhere. You know, you watch Scarface, it fucking glamorizes the shit out of it. Looks like the coolest fucking thing ever. You look at Hollywood and celebrities and stuff, and you see, I mean, Jesus Christ, the 80s, 90s, the fucking movie stars put cocaine in their coffee in the fucking morning. You know, it's like a glamorous lifestyle. That's the way it looks. That's the way it looks. And that's the image you get of it. You know, and there's no real stigma around it. Snorting cocaine, most people will never look at you like, how do I put this? I won't say they won't look at you like a drug addict, but if you smoke crack, you are a piece of shit junkie in people's minds. You know what I mean? They immediately think less of you and they see you as a disposable person almost. Like your life is meaningless, valueless. But snorting coke, because of the image, because of the way it's been portrayed in movies and Hollywood and everything else, the majority of people, it's almost like drinking. At least, even if it's not that acceptable, it's the point I'm trying to make is that there's not the same stigma around it that there is crack cocaine or heroin, something like that. You know, it's like, I don't know. It's been portrayed as something almost cool to do, you know, for decades and decades now. So, I don't know. I mean, I think that makes it easier to be a cocaine addict, at least, because you know that people aren't looking at you like you're some fucking junkie piece of shit. Plus, powder cocaine is, I don't even remember why I got in this subject. Oh, dealing. Yeah. Powder cocaine is, it's not as addictive as crack cocaine. You know, powder cocaine, you can function on it. You know, crack, it's not the same, you know. You got to be hitting a pipe every fucking 3 minutes and it affects you differently because you're smoking pure cocaine. That's the difference between snorting cocaine and smoking cocaine, is because when people cook cocaine, they cook out all the impurities. That's why it's called cocaine base when you're charged, you know. It's pure cocaine you're smoking, you know, and I've seen how it affects people. And powder cocaine has never affected me that way, you know. So it's different. You're looked at differently depending on the drug you do. You really are. Normally, when I drive after having alcohol, I know if I can handle it or not. But even when I think I can handle it, I recognize my judgment is off on the road. So that is very true. FBS, alcohol clouds. Oh, it certainly does. That's why I've really have a really rough time trusting alcoholics, because of my experience with loved ones. I can't sit around waiting for the shoe to drop, so I just put up a big wall. I understand completely. I do. Makes me think, actually. Dave, my wife and myself always had the money to get them. I got tired of spending it on them because it was just killing us. And the last few years, it was harder to get them, so withdrawals were more often. Yeah, I've seen people go through that. You know, they got to wake up every day and not only find the money to buy the pills, but they got to find the pills too, and they're constantly dope sick. My relationship with a loved one was forever changed when the alcoholism came ahead, and no matter how many years passed, because of my issues, I will never be able to go back to what it was. And sadly, life isn't fair, and that is the consequences of our actions. But all we can do is be different over time, and it may take a lot of time, but you do better and you realize you can't fix all. It's not about them, it's about you. It's internal. You have to forgive yourself. That's not easy. Therapy is important. It's the guilty conscience. Yeah, I agree. And to your comment before that, yeah, it's the consequences of our actions, you know. So you're right. All you can do is be different. You change, and over time, you hope that people begin to feel differently about you. But even like Muzz is saying, it's very difficult when you've been in a situation where somebody is an addict and you're around them all the time, and they're doing and saying hurtful things. I mean, most likely your opinion of them is going to change forever, you know? So that's what I know that kills me the most, is that people who had a good opinion of me throughout most of my life, their opinion changed when they saw me at my worst, and it will never go back to what it was. So you lose that. You lose that respect. You lose that love. You lose that trust. You lose it. And you'll never get it back, unfortunately. At least I don't think. Makes it extremely difficult. It's heartbreaking, actually. It is. It's tough to forgive yourself and realize that the ones that got hurt are over it. A true repentant person beats themselves up a lot. Oh, you're fucking right, bro. You're right. They certainly do. What sucks is someone constantly reminding you of the past. Well, I'm lucky enough that I don't have that. You know, but I would almost like that. I would almost like for these people to call me up and fucking scream at me and say every fucking thing I ever said and did that hurt them. So I know, and we could talk about it. And maybe in talking about it, they can change their minds a little bit and maybe begin to forgive you. But what you see a lot of the time is people that you know you've hurt them. You know that they're hurt, but they just treat you like nothing ever happened. A person like me can't say to himself, "Oh my God, look, they're not even bothered by anything I did. It's all good. Back to normal." No, I can see through you, and I know that you feel differently about me. You just won't tell me. And you're keeping all this shit bottled up inside. Even when I ask you, remember when I did this? I'm so sorry. You know, I can't believe that I did that or I said that. And I apologize. I'll do anything I can to make it up to you. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, they'll sit there and say to you, "Oh, don't worry about that. That was no big deal. I don't even think about that." But you know they do. You know they do. So I'd much rather you just fucking let loose on me for everything I've ever done, and maybe we could start over, rather than you keeping this all bottled up and resenting me for the rest of your fucking life. But listen, you can't tell anybody how to think, how to feel, or what to do. You can't. Everybody you've hurt has a right to be mad at you for as long as they fucking feel like it. And you just got to deal with that. You got to deal with that. You got to learn that you're not in control. And if you're a person who likes to be in control, that makes it even more difficult. The hardest part for myself is learning to forgive myself for all this shit I did in the past, sadness and anger towards myself. I know exactly where you're coming from, FBS. Yeah, Jason. Yeah. I'm sure you do, bro. It's not easy. It's the hardest thing I deal with. The hardest thing I deal with. And in some of these cases, you've lost the relationship completely. Luckily, I have not lost any relationship completely. Well, the ones I have, it wasn't just over addiction or anything I did to them. There was other reasons. But I've damaged many. Beyond repair, I think. They probably have forgiven you because forgiveness is to release yourself of the burden of the anger. You both have to do that, not just them. Hopefully they have. I forgave my mother when she was on her deathbed. That's great, instant karma, but for a person like me, that's terrifying. Or a lot of us in the chat, because it's like, is that when they'll finally forgive us? When there's nothing we could do now to make it up to them or anything, or even, have them see us live differently, or see that we've made progress and we're really trying. I hope not. I'm learning to forgive myself and love myself again so I can be a better man at a minimum for my kid. You have to, man, for your kid. You definitely do. I can't do what you're doing. I can't learn to forgive or love myself again. I can't, My past haunts me every fucking single day. Like I said, at some point in the day. After this show, I will be fucked up for hours. I guarantee it. As far as my state of mind. I'll try to take my mind off it, I'll go out, do some things, but most likely it's probably there to stay, at least for the day. My last relationship was a bitter pill to swallow. That will take a will to completely heal from to completely heal from, but time heals all wounds. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I hope time heals all wounds. Well, that's what's up, Mike Slick. Good to see you, brother. You need to look at it as if it was someone else, FBS. If it was telling me how guilty I feel. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. If it was me telling you how guilty I feel and all the good things I've done in my life and all the people that have forgiven me and what a changed person I am, would you honestly tell me that I should feel that way? Let me see. Let me read this again. If it was me telling you how guilty I feel and all the good things I've done in my life and all the people that have forgiven me, and what a changed person I am, would you honestly tell me that I should feel that way? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You can search externally to feel better, FBS. It has to be internal. You're searching the wrong place. Yeah, I think you're right about that. FPS, you deserve the kind words. Personally, your comeback in life and success story has personally inspired me to want to do better. I consider you, FPS, like one of the greatest comeback stories ever. See, that means the world to me, Jason. That means the world to me. Let me see. Maybe I'll look at that every now and then. Thank you, man. And if that's true and I inspired you to want to do better, that's an absolute honor. Yeah, Tom Sheehy, it is. Or you know what? People blame others. There are deeper issues that need to be addressed. I know this all too well. Yeah, usually. Muzz, FPS, that's where you need to change your verbiage. I can't be mad at you. You have nobody to be mad at. That's the point. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right. Thanks for correcting me. Yeah. Do you know how often people yell at me about things I haven't said to them? Things that I haven't said to them because internally they feel guilty about something, uh, and something I said triggered. That's not my fault. Same for you. I guess. I don't know. FPS, I just realized something. I'm going to send you a link to watch later. And I want to know if you see what it is. Has to do with addiction. Okay, sounds good. Instant Karma. I got clean on June 21st, 2019. So 5 years and some change. I don't count the days and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But June 21st, 2019. Have to get back to work here, but love you all listening. I'll be listening. Great show, FBS, as always. Thank you, brother. That's why I'm very aware. I'm very self-aware that alcoholics trigger me, and I can only be around them if I can 100% or be 100% honest, and if they have some self-awareness. Yeah, and usually they probably don't. I feel you, though. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. The OCD makes it 1,000 times worse. That's what I'm trying to explain too, is that your average person might think about these things from time to time and feel some sadness because of them. I, being who I am, obsess over them. Even little things that haunt me, that I actually know other people probably don't even remember or think about. Now, that's not the majority. The majority of things I'm sure they remember and think about, but there's little things that even I know are ridiculous for me to be sweating, but I can't stop it. It's there with me always, you know? Especially if you're somebody who wants everything to be perfect all the time. It makes it impossible to deal with. All you could do is rest in the knowledge that you aren't that person anymore, FBS, bro, and that you have and are making amends for that behavior. That's the only thing that gives me a little comfort, is that I know how much I've changed. You know, I know. And I could be proud of myself, but, other people, I don't think they see it. No matter how much I try to show them, I don't think they see it. I think it's like Muzz said about putting a wall up once you've experienced somebody a certain way, under the influence, maybe being an alcoholic, a drug addict. They just, once that trust is gone and stuff, you can never get it back. And you've disappointed them so many times that you could be clean 20 years and they're still just waiting, like Muzz said, for the other shoe to drop. Like, okay, it's going to happen sooner or later. When he's going to relapse, or he's going to do something stupid, or he's going to hurt me in some way, And it sucks because you know how frustrating it is to know, like, God, if you could just see my life now, if I could just make you pay attention to my life, to what I do every day. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about this YouTube shit. I'm talking about, taking care of a household, supporting a family, cooking, cleaning. You know what I mean? My every fucking move, every minute of every day is to make sure that my family is okay. Every single thing I fucking do. And some people either never saw me that way or haven't seen me that way for a long time, and they won't even give me the chance of paying attention and watching who I am now and what I do now. It's like you've just ruined it and you can't fix it. It's infuriating. But don't get me wrong, when I say infuriating, you get mad at yourself. You can only get mad at yourself. You can't get mad at people for being mad at you. You can't. That's what made me stop. She's still doing it to this day. We aren't together. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you guys broke up and all that. It's a shame when you lose relationships, but you made the right choice. And yeah, you can't be around her now. And I don't know her, but I hope she gets better. I do. Thankfully, my ADHD is so severe, I almost can't get drunk. I mean, it's the terrible reason that pain medication and other things don't always work on me, but that's another story. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I wish my ADHD would fucking take these thoughts away sometimes. I could get distracted while I'm doing anything. I could be in the middle of, taking a shower and forget what the fuck I'm doing. I could be in the middle of a phone conversation and forget what we're talking about. The slightest thing distracts me. You see it on here all the time. I'll veer off and talk about some other shit and then forget what I was talking about originally. I wish that shit would happen with the bad thoughts, but they are there to stay, apparently. That's one of the toughest things to do, too, dealing with that kind of pain. Oh, my God. It's impossible to deal with. It's an unattainable goal to squash your pain with substances. That's why it never works. People don't like therapy because it's hard. Very true on both things, yeah. It never works to use drugs or alcohol to make yourself feel better. In therapy, I've been in it. Let me tell you, if you have the resources and you have these issues, you should consider it. Jesus Christ, the fucking camera isn't, that fucking picture isn't perfectly centered, is it? It's too far to the left. Motherfucker. Anyway. My mother would leave me notes about what a terrible child I was. She stapled. Then I had to go to school. What the fuck? See, that's horrible. It sounds like your mother wasn't just an alcoholic, but she was an extremely abusive alcoholic. And I'm sorry you had to go through that, Instant Karma, because that is painful. I know what it's like to hear those words as a kid. For me, it wasn't coming from an alcoholic. It was coming from somebody who was thinking with a perfectly clear head and still said those things to me. Now, I don't know everything that was said to you, but I'm assuming some of them are similar to what I heard in my childhood. I don't know if that makes it more painful or less painful, the fact that he wasn't even under any the influence of anything. It was just the way he felt about me. I don't know. But those words, that's the thing. See, I know how other people's words have stuck with me for life. So I know in my mind that my words are going to stick with others for their whole lives. Yeah, you can push it away, but yeah, eventually you have to deal with it. Running 456, work out, go to the gym. You have to master your body before you can master your mind. I believe you, and I need to really start doing that. Really. Let me see. Life isn't fair, and I think coming to grips with the fact that not everything can be fixed, and that is the consequence of your actions, and sometimes there is irreparable damage. The way you deal with it is by realizing that and saying it's okay not to be okay. I've tried. I try all the time. I try to tell myself that the past is the past and there's nothing I could do to fix it, and I just have to move forward. And I've done a good job at moving forward with my life, but I can't, control those thoughts or say to myself what you're saying. I can't come to grips with that and say, okay, this is just the way things are. These things have happened. Nothing you could do about it. You got to move on. In my mind, I'm a fixer. Okay, you can ask Shanna. Any fucking problem that pops up, I am on it in an instant, and I don't stop until I fix that problem. I don't care what it is. I do not give a fuck what it is. I will find a solution to everything. But this I can't, which means I have no control over it. I can't find any solution. I can't find any... I can't even make any type of compromise with myself, Like I just... I'm stuck with it. But maybe I deserve it. Maybe that's my punishment. I probably do deserve it. Yes, bro, never forgiven. I don't either. Yeah. And all you can do from today forward is do better. One more day of the bad is one day too many. That's true. That's true. I think that's why I've become obsessed with improving myself in so many fucking ways, you know, but it's never enough. Oh, Timothy, that's awesome, man. Yeah. You want to see all that with a clear head, no question. Oh, yeah, me too. I can't be around people drinking. He's so behind in the comments. All right, let me get to the bottom. I hate missing comments on these shows because everything you guys are saying is important. It's not like the Mob Tube shows. We fuck around, you know, but sorry about that, guys. I was way behind. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm probably taking some of the things you guys are saying out of context and shit. That's if I seem confused, it's because I am with some of the comments. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're in relation to. Let me see. We love you too, Michael Hensley. I know you don't want to talk about YouTube stuff or whatever, but if you ever feel like talking, I'm happy to talk things out with you or just listen. But I know you have plenty of people for that already. Well, no, not YouTube stuff. You know, when I want to talk, it's about life. You know, this YouTube shit is. If it wasn't for the fact that this is how I make a living, this would be completely meaningless to me. You know what I mean? This whole fucking YouTube thing from beginning to right up to this point, you know? I completely agree with you, Jason. You absolutely deserve. Oh, okay. See, now I skipped a bunch of comments. So I'm still fucked up. Have you ever thought about seeing a psychiatrist and getting on meds for that? My psych. See, I don't know, guys. You could be talking to Jason. You could be talking to me. I don't know. See, I don't even know. I don't even know what all this is in reference to. My bad, guys. I fucked up the show. Sorry, I was just spewing my thoughts. Oh yeah, it was absolutely. Why don't let me do this? What the fuck is this? Go away. Oh my God. Why is there a help button? What the fuck is this? I can't drop the link. Fucking bitch. What is this that's popping up here? Why is this happening? I don't know how to make this go away. I can't drop the link. It won't let me get to the fucking button. There's a help thing in front of my fucking button to drop. I can't do it. Be right back. Okay. There we go. Oh, shit. Yeah, I got rid of it. Muzz. Fucking shitty button. See what Muzz has to say. This is not how I expected this show to go, guys. What's clever instant karma? The fuck? Hold on.
Did you see? I'm just like, breathe. It's okay.
Yeah. No, I'm all behind, and it fucks me
I know
all up.
you're stressed out about it. I know.
Yeah.
Listen,
Go ahead, though.
here's what I'm gonna say, and only because I'm sadly share a lot of your brain, and I don't know if that's scary or not, but people don't understand ADHD, and so when you're saying, "Oh, I wish it would make me forget," that's not what ADHD is. Okay, it's the inability, right? For this is why OCD makes it worse, to regulate your focus. So you're either focused on something for 9 hours, like, I don't know, researching someone, watching 17 movies, fixing something in the house, or you can't at all. We're very bad at regulating it.
See, I was never diagnosed with that. I just say that because I get distracted so easily. I didn't realize that part of it could be like hyper focusing.
Well, here, good question. Coffee, does it do anything for you?
I've never had a cup of coffee in my life.
When you drive long distances, do you get tired? Like, can you drive like for hours and hours in a straight line, or do you like start falling asleep?
No, I get tired.
Yep. Can you? Yeah. So the reason I know is because I was only diagnosed a couple years ago, and everything that used to be like my shtick, not so shtick. My doctor told, like, how you can't sleep till late usually sometimes. Yeah. Apparently people with ADHD don't even start to get tired around 2, because I used to go to bed 2 to 4 and wake up 6, and you're exhausted all day.
Yeah.
On and on, but you can't really sleep longer, but you're still always tired, because ADHD is your brain constantly falling asleep. The reason we seem hyper is it's our body compensating to keep us awake. That's why amphetamines help. That's why. So like if I have coffee, I once had 2 Red Bull and went to sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I used to be able to fucking do cocaine and I would do a huge line and then go to sleep.
Correct. And that's ADHD, because again, it's it's not. So like I also take something that lowers my blood pressure for ADHD. And what that does is, it's not that it makes me drowsy to sleep. It makes my brain succumb to the tired. I took sleeping pills. I thought I had insomnia forever. None of them work, because it's not insomnia. It's ADHD. So it affects a lot more of your life. So when you're saying like, oh my God, I'm thinking about it all the time, that's very also ADHD, because
I thought that was more OCD.
No, well, ADHD is almost like perfectionism. Which I once asked my doctor, saying, how's that possible if I'm a slob at my house? And they said, well, perfectionism doesn't mean everything's beautiful. It means all or nothing. That's very ADHD. And that's me. Like, if I don't have a place for this pair of scissors and I put it down on the table, within 10 minutes, there's going to be shit everywhere. You know what I mean? It's all there. It has to be some everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're saying like people, I need to fix everything, and make everyone feel like, I need them to understand and everybody feel better about it. That's also ADHD. You're paralyzed by like everything's a mountain instead of a molehill.
Oh,
and that's why when I went to my doctor, and he's like, you can't even have therapy because you need some sort of baseline to even internalize the coping skills, which is where meds come in. And when people say, oh, I don't need ADHD meds, I'm just a little hyper. When I had to get off my meds for my blood pressure, I felt like I had dementia. Forgetting everything. You forget everything.
Yeah.
All or nothing. That's what it is. It's all or nothing. And that's what people don't understand. It doesn't mean like, and the OCD, obviously, it's all comorbid, right? And it's very comorbid with anxiety, because you get anxious when you can't do it properly.
Oh, yeah.
You can't do it properly, the more you get anxious.
Everything, one thing feeds the next thing.
It's called comorbidity. So like, and then you get depressed because you couldn't do it enough, and the anxious, so you have to. That's kind of why I'm extra self-aware, because I only have like a pie of energy for the day, I call it. And if I spend half that pie stressing about being stressed or getting mad at myself for being upset, then I just double wasted my energy for the day.
Yeah.
And so if you're upset thinking these people, you're like, I know they're lying to me. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't know that.
Yeah.
And you know how I say it to myself? I'm rough on myself. I say, who the fuck do I think I am that I know what their brain is like? Do I really think I'm that special?
I know, you're right. But you know me, though. I feel like I can always see through people. Like, you can't bullshit me. You know
But
what I
so
mean?
can I. But what I say to myself is, what kind of big ego do I think I have that I'm never wrong? I can be wrong.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, recently, a year and a half ago, I was very fucking wrong. So, like, I say
Well, why
to
do you
myself,
think? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, go.
No, I was just gonna say this is what I try to explain to people, like why I don't want people telling me shit on my off time,
Oh, trust
like
me, I
when
know.
I'm just relaxing. Because if you tell me somebody said something,
Mm-hmm.
I can't get it off my mind until I verbally express it on this show. You know, I got it for everybody to hear. It'll be on my mind. It'll eat away at me. That's why, because I hyper focus on things and shit like that. And like you said about all or nothing, you know, that's my whole fucking life. Like I either am doing fantastic or I'm a complete and total fuck up. There's
Don't
no
you ever
in
lose
between.
track of time? Do you ever like you do something and
Oh
next
my
thing
God.
you're like, what the hell? It's 8 p.m.
Yeah, constantly.
That is when I originally I went to the hospital because welcome to Canada. I was on a wait list for like 7 months, 8 months, and it got bad. But the reason it got bad was I got scared because for the first time I lost almost a week. And not like, oh, I remember that happening. Like, I had a fight with my mom. Like, no, that was last. She's like, no, that was 2 weeks ago. And I was like, Jesus. Like, people don't realize, like, what do you mean? How are you busy? You don't do this. You don't. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It's 10 p.m. I haven't stopped all day, and I haven't done anything I needed to do. Right?
Yeah.
Yes, they do. They do really. It's not, and it's not just about. People think ADHD is you're hyper and it calms you down. No. That's why don't get me started on people who take their kids off for the summer for a break. I'm like, no, that's worse. Then they can't enjoy the summer. But
you're talking about Adderall specifically?
I take Vyvanse and Clonidine 3 times a day. I have it really bad. So obviously I need to be in a medically induced coma to function. No, I tell that all the time. I joke. But like there's different kinds. But a lot of people love that Adderall extended release thing. Whatever. I don't know. There's all different ones, but I'd
rather be fucked up than take that shit. I'd rather be mentally fucked up than, you know what I mean?
Think that, listen, I thought that, you think that until you're like, oh, wow.
Well, but for me, though, that would be like a relapse. You know, I could.
No, I get it. Except I don't think your brain could ever get high off of that because it would actually make you function.
I know.
Like, you would probably sleep for the first time in your fucking life. But it's not all amphetamines. That's what I wanted to say. It's not all amphetamines. I take 2 meds. One of them literally lowers your blood pressure. I'm not sure how it affects but it's for ADHD. It's not all, like there are different ways to help with it. And to be honest, just self-awareness of it is a big deal. Like,
oh yeah, I'm sure.
Oh my God, Jason, I had, obviously had to have the highest marks. Ask me one thing I learned. I was in like advanced math. I can't do a damn thing, but I could get 100 the next day.
Really?
And I don't remember nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. And I mean nothing.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But that's why you're so hard. Like when you're trying to like make money and that, like everything has to be the most. Otherwise you don't bother doing it. Right?
Oh yeah, of course.
But that's why you're not going to, you have to, we don't do moderation well. I get it. I'm a hypocrite. It doesn't mean I'm not right. I can say that. But
it's like I said, the other day I was out door dashing and I was like,
yes,
I couldn't stop because it's like,
when you said that, I was
there's
like,
more
oh my
money.
God.
Yeah, there's more money. It keeps coming. I keep getting orders. It's like, I don't want to go home yet, but I had to. It was getting late. You know what I mean?
No, I know. Do you know how many times I fall asleep crocheting? I'm like, but there's 1 row left. I can't put it down now. What if I forget tomorrow? But honestly, it's coping skills. Like I tell people all the time, like I have an iPhone, whatever. I'm sure everyone has a notes app. I can't tell. I have 3,000 notes there because our biggest problem is worrying we're going to forget the thing. So like when you're pissed off because someone told you something, open a voice note, say whatever the fuck you have to say. And that way, right, Jason? And that way you're like, we often stress about forgetting to be stressed. Like, oh shit, I'm going to forget this. And people, I went so long not answering people on YouTube who were lying about me because they're like, don't go when you're mad. A year later was the first time I went when I was mad. They're like, what? That was great. I was like, I forgot I'm different. Mad makes me focused.
Yeah.
Mad makes me focused. And I sound
anger
better.
Drives me, yeah.
Because if you're not mad, then I start to like equivocate and go, oh, I feel bad. And then I start with the, if I'm mad, I can just be like, A plus B equals C, move on. it's different than other people. That's why people are like, when MRE's like, women shouldn't talk about politics, they're emotional. I'm like, well, sometimes not.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you explained this to me, because
But think
I had
about
no
the perspective of
fucking idea.
fixing everybody. Think about it in an almost self-deprecating way, which I know you'll get. Other people think it's mean, but I often say, like, who do we think we are that we know what they're all thinking? Oh, I must be so smart.
Yeah, but you know what I said about how how people treated you for years and years and years,
Yes.
and they're treating you differently now. So you know that there's a reason.
But different doesn't mean bad. That's what I wanted to tell you. Different doesn't mean bad. Different is different. Change isn't bad. Because, listen, I had issues. Mental health does the same thing sometimes, and people don't get it, and they get offended. And I fucked up relationships because they're like, wait, where were you? You didn't say hi to me. And they don't realize that I either forgot or I was, isolating, whatever. I can't help it, except the next time I'm in that way, I often caveat a thing and say, hey, I'm feeling this way. Or, I may look like I'm aloof and disinterested, but that's because I'm looking at the wall. And looking at the painting is the other thing I'm doing so I can focus on the conversation, a la ADHD. I've learned to be more self-aware because of it. That's a learning lesson. So you may have a different relationship. It doesn't mean it's bad, but the lesson from it, you can apply to people you may have never even been able to talk to or meet in the future. Think about it. There are people that if that didn't happen, you would never have met half these people. Who knows? And how many of them have you helped? But you couldn't have if that hadn't happened.
It's true.
So you do it like you're never going to get exactly back to what you had, but if you wanted exactly back to what you had, then you wouldn't have this. So change isn't necessarily bad.
Holy shit, you're like fucking Dr. Melfi on The Sopranos.
Well, because I know what it's like. Change, we fucking hate change. We want it to be the same.
Yeah.
We don't fucking hate it, but it's true if you think about it that way.
Let me ask you something. Do you ever focus on say I run into somebody I haven't seen in a while, and we have a conversation. For the next 5 hours, I'll obsess over, did I answer everything the right way? Did I say everything the right way? Did I say goodbye the right way? Was I, you know what I mean? Like, I'll obsess like a motherfucker.
Of course.
I've noticed that about myself.
But that's your internal, not guilt, lack of confidence. And I know you think you're like, I know you come off with that, you're wonderful, but I know inside it's insecurity.
Of course, I'm all fucked up. Yeah,
I'm all fucked up. I'm fucked up though.
I'm in a position where I constantly gotta prove that what other people are saying about me is wrong. So it's like
very much like and it's so everyone thinks we're extroverts because we're like this, but only because we have to be. We're much more introverts. Like, we're not going to go to a party and sit in the corner because that's fucking awkward. So if we're there, we're going to talk to people. But we don't want to go necessarily, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather stay home.
Of course.
And then sometimes, let me guess, you hit a wall. That's why when you're like, don't message me, because you hit a wall and you can't moderate. Like, when I hit a wall and I'm like, okay, I'm not talking to anyone. Letting one person message me, all of a sudden it's 10 hours later and I've been doing so much for my brain, right?
Yo, right? Exactly. Yeah.
That's because we can't moderate it. We can't moderate it.
No. Last night I was getting a bunch of text messages and it hit me. I'm like, okay, I'm either going to be on the phone all fucking night or I just have to turn my fucking phone off. That's it.
Well,
I either deal with all these messages and phone calls or I deal with none of them, you know?
My psychiatrist taught me something that he's right, but I suck at. I also once said to him, like, oh my gosh, so I suck at getting off the phone. I'm going to share with everyone this lovely story. Right. My excuse, I said, don't worry, I have a way to get off. You tell people you have diarrhea. Nobody's going to say no. Right? And I was like, see, I have a way to get off. And you know what he said to me? He said, actually, no, that's you managing their anxieties. You should be able to say to them, you have to go. And if they get upset, you have to be okay with it. Now, I always remember that. I'm not good at it. I suck at it, obviously. But he's right. So, like, you know, you saying, like, wondering, did I say the right thing? We're worrying about how they feel. But to us, we should be able to say, well, we did the best we could, and it is what it is.
Yeah, who gives a fuck, really? You know what I mean?
Which
And
is
I'll
easier
have
said than done, of
conversations
course.
where I feel like I answered something the wrong way or something, and I
All the
say to
time.
myself, "There's no way they're thinking about this.
No.
This is just me. I'm in my fucking head."
Absolutely.
That's
And
crazy.
it's true. And you keep saying, like, I know. They're lying to me. They don't forgive me. You can't say you know. That's why I'm the annoying person who asks people questions all the time. Because I will never assume. Ever. I don't do coy well. I'm like, do you mean this? Do you mean this? Because I don't want to assume. Because we don't know.
Yep.
You really don't know. And listen, forgiveness is for yourself, which I know is easier said than done, but it's so you don't carry the burden of being pissed. Trust me, I wish I could forgive the people in my life. I wouldn't have. It's my problem, not theirs.
Yeah.
So they may actually have forgiven you. Listen, if the person in my life that was with the alcohol stuff took half the accountability you did, without the like textbook things that was said, that's not what I needed to hear at the time.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have the wall I do. And I can handle William because he knows he's an alcoholic, and I can tell him I don't like I could just be honest.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like cry about it and whatever. But if he did, I couldn't. I'd have to block.
No,
Because
I understand.
I have to be honest. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
people are
me
like,
too.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
Like recently someone was
Drives
like,
you crazy.
well, recently someone said, it's actually the link I sent you. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just a problematic drinker. And my eyeballs almost fell out.
That's the definition of an alcoholic. Yeah.
No, the definition was when they said, there's a switch that I just don't know when to stop. And I was like, oh, I can't watch this. So
yeah, that's alcoholism.
Right. So, but that stuff. Now, if you were that person, that's why I sent you the link. I would understand why you think people can't fucking stand you. But you're like literally make no excuses, and you're like, I fucked up. There's no like, I fucked up. Period. I've never heard.
I beat myself up constantly. Oh yeah, there's never any excuses. Never.
I've never heard you say like, well, it was because and this and I had no. You're just like, yeah, it was stupid.
I made bad decisions. That's all it is. It's my fault.
That I would not be like this if that's what I had. So as the person on the other side of it, I don't necessarily think people are lying to you. But at the same time, they may not forgive. And that's just where we have to move forward in life and say, okay, next time I know better. And the next people I meet, like the minute one door closes, oh my God, I didn't mean to say it like that, but it's true. You wouldn't be on YouTube in that if all this shit didn't happen, right? You wouldn't have met these people. The people you helped go to rehab, you never would have helped them.
It's true.
Ever.
Look at you.
Right?
You're making me feel better, Muzz.
Well, but it's because it's internal. Like, you're never going to care if someone like looks at you weird. And believe me, I do the same thing. I'm like, oh, I could tell they're annoyed. Do you know I had to train myself? I used to have a problem where if a man would go, like, exhale, I'd go, what's wrong? Until I realized how fucking annoying that is because people breathe. And I went, oh my God.
People do breathe.
And I had to train myself that I went through a period where if they exhaled, I went, what's wrong? I'm sorry. Like literally until I stopped saying it. I physically had to train myself. But I get it. We're like, oh, something's wrong. We just assume it. Because most of the time we're right. But we have to leave it open that we're not.
That's true. That's true. I guess, as you're talking, I'm thinking about things I do that are exactly like that. You know what I mean? Shanna even makes a fucking noise, and I feel like I know exactly what mood she's in.
Exactly.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I get it. 80% of the time we're right. So we think we're right. But but to practice, I call it muscle memory. To practice not assuming and even to ask her, is something wrong? It's annoying, but it starts to become like muscle memory. And then more you're wrong, the more you realize you're going to be wrong, and the less you're going to assume you're right. That's what you just have to keep doing it. I literally trained myself to stop going, what's wrong? Which, God bless, because even, you know how hard it is for us to take compliments? I know you're the same way.
Oh yeah, I get uncomfortable.
Think about it this way. How fucking rude is it if someone gives you a gift and you throw it back at them? You would never do that. That's fucking embarrassing, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I think about it. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad my whole life I told people fuck off when they told me I looked good or something. You know what I mean? It's rude.
Yeah. No, I
know
hear
that's not how normal people think, but for us, it's like logistics make more sense. So if it's like 1 + 1 = 2, we can do it.
This all makes so much fucking sense. I can't believe it. I'm so glad you
That's
came
why I was
on.
spamming the chat. I'm like, I know what you're feeling. Like,
Oh yeah, it's hell. It's a nightmare. It is. You know what I
yes,
mean?
it's
It breaks me
paralyzing.
down. Yeah, it
And people don't know
absolutely is the
what
perfect
paralyzing
word.
means. And how about this? I also give people grace. Like way back when I had depression the first time, and I was dating someone, I was like 18, and he was like, I don't understand why you can't just put your legs over the side of the bed and stand up. What do you mean you can't? And that was the first time I was like, I don't blame people for not getting it. It sounds crazy. What do you mean you can't? Yes, you can. Like, I get it. So you also have to give people grace for not getting it.
You do.
You know, and some people want to get it and some people don't, and that's okay. You know, you have to meet people where they are.
You know, I never thought about any of this shit that way, but you're right. I
You
just
know?
learned some things.
It's because of my insane OCD ADHD brain. That's probably, you know, normal people get diagnosed. I have to know everything. So
Yes. Yeah, you know, it's funny because I'm like that too, but I never thought about things this way. Like it's even something I need to learn about. I'm so used to being this way that I don't necessarily attribute it to anything.
Well, listen, I spent 8 years, 9 years. I call it like my plateau. Sure, I was on meds. Sure, I had a psychiatrist. I was fine. Sure, I'm fine. But you don't have to be fine. There's better than fine. And I didn't realize that till I got worse and then whatever. But we're okay. As long as we're functioning, we're always like, well, what? I mean, let me guess. How many times are you like, people have it worse?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
All the time. I'm like, what? When people ask me, like, how are you? I hate that question because I'm like, I just want to know. I honest to God, sometimes I'm like, do you really want to know? Or are you just saying hi? And I'm not even offended by that, but I don't want to answer. I don't like lying to people.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm alive. That's my answer.
Yeah, there you go.
I got a roof over my head.
Yeah.
I'm here. You know, like, but that's, you know, that's why when you always say I don't lie, and people think it's like hyperbole, I know what you're saying. You don't.
No.
Because our brains literally cannot keep track of a lie.
No, I wouldn't even try. I wouldn't even try to fucking lie. You know what I mean?
Here's something that literally hit me a few months ago when I was talking to someone. And I said to her, I'm so sorry. I found the screenshot for a change and this person sent me and I didn't give it to you, but I didn't know I had it. And she goes, we talked about this 2 days ago. And I went, I now understand why people think I'm a liar. I said, I have no recollection of that.
Oh.
Because our memory is so bad. I was like, now I get it. Of course someone would say I'm a liar. Why would I not remember from fucking 2 days ago?
That's true. That happens to me too. Like sometimes I'll tell a story that's a true story, but I'll forget how I told it or something. Yep. You know what I mean? And like I'll feel like one thing is off, and I'm like, wait a minute, I feel like maybe I fucked up. Like I don't know. It's even more infuriating.
People can gaslight us about our own behavior. There was a whole fucking thing the other day about my friend calling someone a whore, and I'm defending her, and then like 3 hours later, she's like, "Did I call her a whore?" And I was like, "I didn't even think to look," and it didn't even happen. But I just assumed it did.
Yeah, I do. That shit happens to me all the fucking time. All the time.
All the time. I'm like, that's why, like, people can gaslight me into I did anything because I just, like, in our naive minds, we're like, why would they make it up?
Yeah.
So you have to, like, remember your brain, like, people with ADHD, that we are neurodivergent. Our brains do work differently. And it affects everything. Like, I guarantee your jobs in the past, you never had, like, you were never great at downtime on a job.
Oh my God, no. That's what makes me a good worker.
Well, yes. So my when I was getting diagnosed, a lot of it has to do with conversation. He's like, how do you handle like downtime? And I said, well, I have the job of like 3 people, so I never have it. And then I stopped for a second and I went, wait a minute. I know what I do. I have 2 screens, and on one I open a YouTube crochet, and on the other one a Word, and I transcribe it so that when I want to do it, I have it in writing. And I was like, oh, okay. That's what I used to do. And I was like, oh, okay.
Even that is something obsessive.
Exactly. Because why? Because I can never watch a crochet thing because that's doing one thing. I need to have it. I need to be watching something else and have it in writing. So I'm doing 2 things at once.
That's crazy.
So I was like, downtime. We don't do that. What's downtime?
Yeah. I hear you.
You know, so it just, you have to remember that you see it a certain way, but it's like, it's almost like insulting. It sounds terrible, but when my friend was like, that's it. She had anxiety and she was off work and she's like, I'm going to CAMH, which is a very, hey, Robert, a very like famous mental health hospital here. And I said to her, I was like, this is going to sound terrible, but who the fuck do you think you are with your anxiety? That you're going to be the worst people Cam H has ever seen? I go, Cam H? I said, do you shower? Yeah. Do you walk the dog? Yeah. I was like, are you out of your mind? It is a world-renowned center for like mental health and addiction, and you think you're going to be turned away. And sometimes that's how we have to talk to ourselves. Like, who the fuck do we think we are? That we're the worst.
You're right about that. You're right.
I said, I know it sounds mean, but I was like, girl, if they turned you away, they wouldn't have a hospital. I was like, they probably have padded rooms in there and fucking like, serial killers, God knows what. And you're worried about your anxiety. Stop it.
Well, yeah, and you know what? When you say, like, who the fuck do we think we are? That makes me think about myself so much because I have to be impossible to live with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't catch it, but I know everything about everything. You can't tell me shit. You know what I mean? I can tell you exactly how you're feeling. You know what I mean? You can tell me 1,000 times I'm wrong. I'll tell you, no. I know.
Do you know I warn people? I say, listen, I'm going to yell at you and tell you that I know where we're going, and I'm always wrong. I never know where we're going. And then swear to God, 5 minutes later, once with a friend, I was like, no, but this time I'm right. It's left. And of course, I was wrong. But I'm self-aware enough to like warn people, like, just don't listen to me, no matter how much I fight with you.
Yeah.
And it's not because we're stubborn or whatever. It's because our brain literally is sure we're right.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Because we have no memory.
True.
I mean, when I'm off my meds, I feel like I have dementia. It's actually terrifying, to be honest.
Really?
Yes, it's real bad. And it gets worse once you start meds because you feel better. And when I had to come off from like my heart stuff, I was like out of my, like, have you ever fallen asleep and like texted like gibberish? Does that happen ever to you?
No.
Okay, so I'll be like
Only when I
mid
was
texting
using.
someone and halfway through the sentence I would fall asleep.
Really?
And we used to like laugh, but it wasn't that funny. But like gibberish, I'd be like, what did I just send? And sometimes I wake up and I see like, put the phone away, Muzz. They know that I was, here we go. It's too early. Like until about 2 p.m. I wouldn't be functional.
Wow.
Which is, I'm assuming, why you used to go to bed so late and work like later. Later's better for you, right?
Yeah, usually. Yeah, absolutely. I can't even get the way I am at night. There's so much I want to be doing. I feel like I could be learning something.
You don't want to go to bed because you're like, now time.
Oh yeah, it's like, and not only that, but I mean, I'm left alone. It's the most peaceful time. Nobody.
You know what it is? I used to want to go like for a walk at midnight. People are like, what are you, crazy? I go, something about the world being asleep is very calming for my brain.
Oh man,
and I don't know why.
I'd say it's the happiest point of my day.
Yes.
And it's not because I don't want to be around people. It's because I'm just not being bothered. There's
something calming about the world being like asleep. I don't know what it is. The whole world.
I don't have to have an hour. Yeah, I don't have to have an hour-long conversation about MobTube. I'm not getting text messages.
Right.
There's nothing I have to do around the house. That the dogs are in for the night. It's time to just chill, and I enjoy it so much. It's like I know as soon as I wake up, I'm gonna have to deal with bullshit.
And
all
that's
fucking
our
day.
fault. That's our fault for not being able to ignore it. I get that that's our fault. It's just easier said than done to fix.
Yeah.
I don't put it on them. That's my fault. Like I can't help myself, but you are. Yeah. I remember when he said like, what time do you go to bed? I was like, oh, maybe 4 if I'm lucky. And he's like, I said, but definitely not before 2. And he's like, something about people with ADHD. Nobody's tired before like 2.
I don't.
And for some reason, taking amphetamines helps you sleep. Like that's how backwards it is.
Yeah, it is totally. That's what I never understood. I'm like, wait a minute. You take something that makes you hyper to stop you
because
from
everyone
being
thinks your brain is hyper. It's not. It's your body hyper trying to keep your brain awake, which is why when we drive long distances, we can't do 2 things at once. We fall asleep.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're absolutely right.
Because when he said that, I went, oh my God, I could never. And I remember my family used to be like, what is wrong with you? It's 5 hours, not that bad. I'm like, an hour and a half or 2, and I'm like in pain. My eyeballs can't stay awake. And I'll be like slapping myself and trying to stay awake. And they're like, open the window. I'm like, I'm telling you, nothing works. I can't. Well, I did for the first time in my life, and I'm almost 40, drive for like 5 hours, 5.5 hours to go see my friend last week in Ohio. And I was like, but I stayed on a live talking for like 2 hours of it because I was like, just in case.
Wow.
I mean, I was okay, but it was like, it's nerve wracking. And, so I was like, gotta make sure I'm not going to die, but dog's in the car. But Well, that's the reason. Who cares about me? No.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Muzz. This is all very informative. I'm
sorry, I just like spammed your chat. I was like verbally vomiting, but I'm like, I have to tell you this.
No, I get behind in the chat, and then I try to pretend like I know what people are talking about, but it doesn't go over well.
And then you try, and then you don't just like give up. You keep reading the comment, trying to figure it out. I'm like, we're gonna be here.
Yeah. I'll read it over, and I'll be like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. What? Who?
Yeah,
and then
but I can't help it. I
40
can't
minutes
move
later.
on. Yeah, I can't move on.
You need like there's this creator, he's a big one, but whatever, he's bigger, that his mod in StreamYard stars the comments that aren't like just fluff, like, hey, what's up today? Like questions. Because you know how there's like a third column for the starred stuff in StreamYard?
Yeah.
And then he'll just only have that one open, and when he answers something, he unstars it. And I was like, you need that. You need someone to do that for you sometimes. Because then, like, you know, all the fluff in between you wouldn't get distracted with.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason, thank you. Don't say that, though, because people are watching and they're going to be like, this bitch thinks she knows everything. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah,
I was in a chat at 3 o'clock in the morning, and on purpose, I said something in chat like I've beaten like 25-ish like copyright strikes for this story. And then I was explaining copyright to the panel. And the next day in a chat, she thinks she knows everything. I was like, 3 o'clock in the morning. Would you like my skin?
Jesus.
But anyways, I'm gonna stop screaming on your panel and
I gotta
everything. But just think about different perspectives really helps us to look at it in a different way. People like us.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna work on that now, because a lot of the shit you said has opened my eyes a little bit. I'm like, oh shit, she's right.
Listen, and it's easier said than done. Just because I'm right doesn't mean I'm great at it, but just to know, like, have that self-awareness is very helpful.
It is. It definitely is. I appreciate you.
No problem. Well,
awesome.
Have a good rest of your day, and you snuggle the puppies. Don't stress about this, and don't discriminate against Peanut. That's all I gotta say. Okay?
I won't. I promise.
He loves. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Talk to you soon, Muzz. I gotta have Muzz on more often. She's fucking brilliant. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Holy shit. She knows a lot of stuff. I feel like I was just in therapy. I feel like I've been meditating. I feel great now. Fucking Muzz, thank you. Holy shit. Well, guys, I guess that's it for this show. An hour and 57 minutes in. I'm gonna get going because I have to do a third show at some point, not that far from now, maybe 5:30. Depends on when SoFlo gets off. So thanks for being here, guys. Let's see. Muzz just gave me some insight into a few things. Yeah, for real. That was great, Muzz. Fantastic. All right, guys, we'll write these numbers down. National Addiction Hotline, Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And go to nextdistro.org. Take a little quick quiz after you watch a video. You learn some things. Fill in your information and get your Narcan sent to your house for free. Because you have to have Narcan around, guys. It's 2024. You never know. So you could be in a fucking grocery store. You could be in a parking lot. You could be at a movie theater and somebody could OD. And you could save their life if you have this shit. It really is a miracle drug. So go get your Narcan, or I'm going to do 6 shows about you in a row. All right? That goes for all of you. Let me see. Sorry, I sound like an obese human. I have lung issues going on 2 years. Specialist. Look, even she's obsessing over how she sounds. A fucking thing. It's funny. Keep it in your car. Yes. Always have your Narcan in your car. And have it in your fucking pocket if you can, You never know what might happen. All right, guys, listen, I'm going to go now. I enjoyed this show thoroughly. I got some shit off my chest. And I learned some things from Muzz and you guys in the chat. So, yeah. No, I feel you. Yeah. Listen, what do they say? Those that can do, those that can't teach. All right, guys. Thanks for everything. I love you all. And until next time,